and welcome to another live recording of the Business Travel 360 Linking the Travel Industry podcast, where we discuss travel industry news you are talking about on LinkedIn. My name is Rian, and I'm one of your hosts today. I'm a co-founder at Agentivity, where we do some very clever things with the booking data flowing through a TMC. So if that sounds of interest, please get in touch and see what we can talk about. As usual, I'm joined by Ash and Anne to help me discuss our list of stories with you. Over to you, Anne.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Anne. I'm an independent consultant with LeapShift and happy to help you with any questions you have regarding distribution, airline retailing, one order, NDC, etc. Over to you, Ash.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ash. I'm the host of a weekly business travel podcast called What's Up in Business Travel, where we give you only the important updates in under 15 minutes. Additionally, I'm the Vice President of Client Success at Traxo, and this is Linking the Travel Industry.
The format of this discussion is a quick, non-biased and spontaneous review of the previous week's top LinkedIn travel industry-related stories. And we also like to hear from you as we go along. So if something we talk about raises your interest and you have a comment, please share that comment with us and we'll get that on screen. So last week was week 41 of 2025. And the first story, and of course this is a story which Anne knew nothing about when we talked about it, is the big news about SAP Concur and Amex GBT's new close relationship. So as the week evolved, there were quite a few very interesting posts about this as well, and people asking a lot of questions about how does the other TMCs feel, and some people questioning the name as well, Complete. They're not sure about that. Let me wait and see, what did Ash make of this news, and where do you think this is going?
To me, this is going backwards, actually, Rian and Ann. This is not moving forward in any way or form. And I'll explain that in two parts. One is that this is not the first time that Amex GBT and SAP Concur have had this kind of relationship. They had it in the early days when Concur first came out as a booking tool, and there was a credit card piece attached to this. So there's a lot of relationship already in place. Since then, the relationship has soured. And so now it seems like they're back in the we love each other category. The other thing, Concur has a product called Complete today, and it is a product that's spelled Compleat. So good luck to the Concur employees who have to now manage a word that sounds exactly the same word as they already use today, but it means something totally different. The other thing is that when I read the press release and I read the announcements, I see nothing interesting and new. It's all about, we're going to provide you with a new user experience and you're going to love travel experience and all that jargon that we have in the industry. So nothing compelling in the description in any way or form. And I find it hard to believe that this is going to be a product that's going to solve the travel experience when the Amex GBT supplier team has a big role in what you see as a result on a search on every booking tool that they have. If you look at Concur Travel, I mean, when was the last time any traveler ever said to you, what a great experience. I had a great time booking on Concur. I can't wait to book my next trip. That kind of tells you a few things that you need to know.
For starters, the name is bizarre to me because, as you point out, it's going to cause confusion. I'm amazed that they've agreed on that name. That is very strange. And I can't quite figure out where does it leave other TMCs who use Concur.
Those TMCs are going to continue using Concur, but Concur is going to leave that behind and go towards Amex GBT and build a new tool.
So how would you feel if you are using a product which the supplier now tells you, I'm not going to pay much attention to this anymore. I'm going to be playing here with the big boys, right? It's a bit strange. It's really strange. The other strange thing about this was the actual timing of the press release. It was bizarre. Came out effectively late Friday evening. Typically, the time when you want to bury something, you don't want it to come out, right? So you publish it on a Friday evening. It was just very strange to me, very, very odd. Most of the posts have been around the name and also what is new in this. And obviously the question about the other agents, where does it leave them? Very strange. We'll have to see what comes out of that partnership.
And I hate to say this, but there's a lot of play on this word that people are going to enjoy talking about. So we're going to have to hear things like incomplete. I mean, wait until that starts flying around.
There was some more collaboration news from last week. Interesting announcement between Excelia and Amazon Web Services. That probably was made, it must have been at one of the trade events last week, just about a new collaboration between them. A bit grey in the actual press release, right, Anne? But good relationship there?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, many have a relationship with AWS, right? World Aviation Festival, of course, they hosted an afternoon, AWS that is. The only question marks I struggle with, and I still struggle, I keep on struggling with this, is that I don't understand the extent of Axilia. Will they be going in the direction of a native order-based PSS, or will they become an OMS provider, or will they stay in the NDC space? That's what I still can't really figure out.
The other stuff that I can't figure out, they say that this multi-year agreement between Axilia and Amazon Web Services is now going to, really elevate FLX1 and all their products, etc. But they don't really talk much about how. Then we saw an announcement by Indigo that they're going to launch the London-Mumbai route. Well, I was a bit surprised to hear this was their first. I thought they were doing this already, but good news. I think they're going to launch it in December already, if I'm not mistaken. Must be a bit soon. I don't know, Anne, if you saw any more about this.
And I was also a bit confused. And obviously, they haven't started flying there.
This is the bit that surprised me. They're going to start flying on the 26th of October. That's like 10 days away.
This was already planned. And remember that they already are flying between Manchester and Mumbai. So maybe that's what you remember.
Oh, okay.
Right.
A couple of things. Number one is that they're leasing the aircraft from North Atlantic. The other thing also is that I'm not really a fan of this city pair because Indigo is a low-cost airline. They've really managed themselves well financially because of that. And now they're flying from Mumbai to London Heathrow. I would have imagined that they would go into Gatwick. Gatwick, to me, would be a much better airport for Indigo. And this is a point-to-point thing. And I know they want to be part of the whole network and connect with the other partners and that kind of stuff. But that's a very small percentage of people. The volume of traffic between London and India is incredibly large numbers. So you don't need to go into airport where you have to connect in with your partners. You could actually end the flight at Gatwick Airport and it'd be totally fine. On the flip side, Mumbai has a new airport that opened up recently called Navi Mumbai. So I am surprised that they're not using that airport to alleviate the traffic from Mumbai. So exciting to see Indigo take this next step, but I think at the same time, they could have chosen a city pair that didn't include Heathrow. Heathrow, I think, has enough going on.
I agree. Gatwick would have been a great choice for them. Very interesting story developing here with Qatar Airways. They are facing a lawsuit following the death of a passenger after that passenger was served a wrong meal. The passenger was apparently quite averse to meat and was served a meal that contained that, allegedly. The passenger then died as a result, and they are now facing a lawsuit. This is a fascinating area because, you don't really think of these things. For people like me who pretty much eat whatever I want and absolutely do, it's quite a shocking reminder that there are people who face some really serious challenges when it comes to what they can and cannot eat. In this case, of course, very serious incident indeed. The first time I heard about this when I read the story, were you aware of this before?
No, I was not. You're right. I think the majority of the world does not realize the sensitivities that some people have against meat. In this case, this is an 85-year-old man, and he is not somebody who can manage a situation like this very well. So the fact that he was given something and it obviously caused him a lot of emotional pain. Sometimes we think, meat is like you just put it aside and people can deal with it. The fact that it's on your plate, the fact that you smell it, it creates a lot of anxiety within an individual. And they pre-ordered the vegetarian meals. They did all the right things on their side.
Yeah, very sad story indeed. Any comments, Anne?
Well, I mean, the passenger actually choked, right? And the passenger was told to eat around the meat, which is one of the strangest instructions. I mean, there must have been alternative solutions on board.
No, absolutely a failure of duty of care there. So, yeah, it should be interesting to see how that turns out. Let's turn to our audience for a second. I just want to say to the audience, thank you so much for joining us on a Monday. It's nice to see you guys in the room. And please do comment and tell us where you are listening from. We'd love to hear where you are listening from, and we'll get that on screen as well. Our ultimate purpose here is to connect more of us in the industry to one another. So if you share your name and get it on screen, and we will get a few extra connection requests going today. Let's move on. Interesting post I spotted by Steve Banks. He was talking on behalf of his company, Beyond Business Travel, and he was posting about the news that the Irish government is making progress. They didn't actually do this. They're just making progress with the legislation aimed at removing the passenger cap at Dublin Airport. So there's a lot of ifs, and buts and loops there. There's not at all, final, but there is currently a passenger cap at Dublin Airport. And I believe that cap was introduced some time ago, 2007. They've introduced a cap of 32 million passengers a year. And there's been a lot of lobbying by people in the industry to get that removed. And apparently there's been some progress in that. I couldn't quite figure out what was the progress, but I guess it is the fact that they're actually talking about it. So it's baby steps, right, Anne, but at least it's in the right direction.
I've said it before that Dublin has this very rather unique access to the US that you can clear immigrations before entering the US from Dublin Airport. And, it really makes you wonder, why isn't this promoting it? Why isn't there more feeder traffic into Ireland and then onto the US?
Shout out there for Carmen Smith, listening in from Washington, D.C. metro area. Thank you, Carmen, for listening in, and hope you are enjoying the event. I like what you did there, Ash. We've got the Business Travel 360 podcast posting about the impact of the US government shutdown to the travel industry, currently estimated at $1 billion a week. And of course, this is also a good time for us to just remind you that there are some other podcasts as well, all industry related, available at Business Travel 360. Ash, just back to that actual story about the shutdown costing the industry $1 billion a week. Any updates on that? Is there some end in sight?
There is no end in sight right now. We are going to continue with business as usual. And I'm kind of curious to see what you guys hear about it in your parts of the world. The TSA is showing up to work. They're part of the essential employee group. The air traffic controllers are going to work. They're also part of the essential employee group. I think that there's going to be a focus on trying to make sure that they get paid, even though other employees may not get paid. But I had the ability to travel this weekend, and I will tell you, the airport is functioning very well. There was no long queues. Everybody is doing their part in ensuring that the travelers get to their destination. Now, as far as the industry losing $1 billion per week, this was a direct quote from U.S. Travel Association that put this estimate out. They based this estimate on a previous shutdown that occurred in late 2018 and early 2019. And so they took a measurement from that and did their math in terms of what the impact on the industry is going to be. But from a travel perspective, this is definitely going very, very well. Southwest put out a statement that they've not seen any major disruption from them at all. And yes, there might be some delays, but the media will always make a big story out of anything. But I want to just report to everybody that from my travel that I took recently into a major New York City airport, it's going well.
And you've been traveling so much, all the fabulous people you've met up with and had some great photos taken.
An amazing family of friends we are, right, in this industry. There were a few things that struck me as very interesting. World Aviation Festival to me has always been glamour and glitter and very flashy. And, the booths are enormous. It's like a mini village almost, the size. So all of that was really scaled down. I've never seen it this small ever before. So that was interesting. Last year, that the big, like I wrote on my post, every Tom, Dick and Harry, they were claiming that they were doing order management. I mean, it was very unclear last year. Again, that one of the biggest questions I have, are you talking about an order-based PSS or hosting system for the airline? Or are you talking about an order management solution that can sit on top of any PSS? I mean, that was extremely unclear last year. It's still a bit unclear, but there were not as many vendors claiming to be in the space at all. I found that very, very interesting, that it wasn't, a big play anymore. What I did find particularly interesting, and I wrote about that, was Willie Walsh in his interview with Henry Hartevelt, where he said that the potential for airlines with offer and order is very big, really has huge potential for airlines to grow revenue. Interestingly, he said that if you want to sell other products and you want to diversify, offer and order is really for you. If you don't, if you just want to sell tickets, then it's not for you. And I thought that was a very interesting statement. And I found it, though, a bit, like I also said, weird, because I listened to a panel that was very confusing. Well, there were some panels and presentations that were extremely confusing, and it had mostly to do with NDC. And I think that sort of echoes, doesn't it, Rian, your experience in London. I saw one presentation made by Saudia where NDC seemed to be some sort of magic wand. And you sort of really want to have the opportunity to ask the questions, why is that? Why do you see NDC as a magic wand? I asked on one panel saying that we have 2 airlines cutting over to full one order in 2 years, in 2028. And you sort of go, wow. And then 4 more airlines in 2030.
This is starting to sound like sustainability plans. Hand on the curb until 2050 and none of us will be alive. And so it won't matter.
Well, the best presentation was actually outside of Aviation Festival. And that was at the AWS event on the Monday. And that was the EasyJet presentation that they did on AI.
Very good. Thank you very much for that feedback. I'm going to go over to Ash because we might have some...
Space news!
I feel like it's been a while since we had space news, wouldn't you say? And I know you guys have been missing it quite a bit. So I am going to drop a whole bunch of headlines over to you guys. So we know that United Airlines has now partnered with Starlink to offer free Wi-Fi. And JetBlue is going the way of Amazon. So Amazon is going to support the JetBlue Wi-Fi. SpaceX marked its 300th Starlink launch. So congratulations to them. And Blue Origin completed 35 and 36 flights since we last provided an update. Now, the next 2 stories are really, really cool because Solstar has won a NASA bid to offer, and wait for this, Wi-Fi on the moon. With the future of travel being space travel and the future of space travel being that you got to set up bases on the moon. When you're on the moon, you need TikTok and you need your Wi-Fi access. So they're going to set up Wi-Fi on the moon, which is going to be super, super cool. So this company called Solstar is going to be managing that for all of us. So you'll hear that name when you go to the moon next time. You'll be connecting to the Solstar Wi-Fi system. And then the last headline I want to mention is that SpaceX has bought a company called Spectrum from EcoStar for $17 billion. And this is all part of SpaceX's ability to provide direct satellite to mobile phone access to the internet. Traditional route is to go through the tower, but this is going to be a direct to cell phone service. And this is going to be the future of how people connect. You can read my post to give you a single dosage of space news. So please do check that out. You can access that from my LinkedIn page.
There's a story there about NDC offer order and Wi-Fi on the moon in a common connection.
And guess what's going to happen first? Wi-Fi on the moon will happen first.
We have absolutely no doubt.
Guys, that is a wrap for the week. We are going to turn this into a podcast, which Ash will tell us about. So thank you, guys. Over to you, Anne.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. And over to you, Ash.
Thank you all for joining today's session, and thank you for being part of the live recording of Linking the Travel Industry. We record this podcast live every week on Monday, and we ask that you share this event with others that you know. Chances are high that if you enjoyed today's session, those that you know will as well. If you ever miss a show because of time zone or availability, the podcast is available on businesstravel360.com. This is Linking the Travel Industry, signing off.